up, my people? This is ShowBizz, though, don't? All right, man, look, you smiling already, AC. If you guys don't know, man, this is my brother, AC, Adrian Clark, CEO of Fighters First Management, creator of Protect Yourself at All Times, and representative of Spence. You know, a lot of people don't know that. You know, you're one of those guys that's like, you kind of quiet behind the scenes, but you're doing a lot of things, man. Why is that your style?
It's always been my style. Like, being in front of the cameras is too much work. Being in talent, way too much work. So I found it easier to be the guy behind the scenes, just kind of puppeteering everything, but not getting credit for certain things or not being in the forefront. I don't need that spotlight. I'm good on that.
Facts. I like that, bro. I mean, you know, what do you say? Real G's move in silence like lasagna.
Right. Definitely moving in silence, man.
So listen, dude, I'm very interested, always been a supporter of yours, man. Everything you've been doing as far as you putting your books out, educating the fighters, educating the people.
Sure.
Definitely putting the fighters first and being, you know, a creator of Protect Yourself at All Times. I love just the idea and the energy behind that, and I want the people to know a lot about that. Sure. But I do want to give the people what they want.
Gotcha. I understand.
All right. You know, wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
A couple Saturdays ago, something big happened. One of the biggest expected fights, you know, in forever, like 30, 40 years, right? Anticipated fight, Spence versus Terrence Crawford. You had something to do with that. How do you feel just being a part of that?
Oh man, it's amazing. Like, and just seeing like myself being caught in certain places, whether it's pictures or like videos. It was really dope to be a part of that, and then knowing that Errol was the one that really spearheaded that and really got that done, man. It was really special to be a part of history, man. So I'm really, didn't like the outcome, of course, no one did from our side, but definitely was honored to be a part of that and looking forward to the rematch.
Facts. We'll talk about a little bit of that too, because you're saying little things that got people there drooling right now. Now, you were part of the co-main though, Cabrera versus Cruz. Right. How you feel about that split decision? Do you think that he deserved the win, or what did you find out about your fighter and Cruz?
I predicted that Gio would win by split decision, and I thought when they announced it wasn't going to be a split, I thought, you know, we were going to steal it, but Gio even said himself, man, you know, he gave Cruz a little bit too much credit. He got caught with some big shots, but he was like, man, he wasn't.
Yo, he shook it off.
Yeah, but he said, Gio was like, yo, he wasn't who I thought he was. And Gio believed he should have really pushed the offensive envelope, especially towards the championship rounds, and that's where he feels like things probably slipped. But, you know, that slip that was called a slip, it was really a knockdown. That was a knockdown, man.
Yeah.
I feel like that was really a difference maker, because one of the judges scored at 115, 114 for Cruz. That was a difference maker. So, but I was impressed with Gio the entire week of the fight. His first time on the big stage. He really impressed me, man. So I look forward to see what's next for him, but I hate that one slipped.
But listen, brother. You know, a lot of times, you know, I can say, hey, they weren't robbed of the fight, but they were robbed of a moment.
Yeah.
You know, so if that's correctly called a knockdown, which it was, that's his fight.
Yeah.
But, you know, he kind of ruined some things. Your fighter, he's kind of ruining some things here because everybody was anticipating Tank Davis and Isaac Cruz too. How do you feel about that, man?
Honestly, I think Gio was in a similar space. Not the same space, but Cruz made his name off of losing to Gervonta Davis, who had a broken hand, arguably, in that fight, and he couldn't really get off. Cruz made his name off of that, but he's a power puncher, knockout puncher. He proved himself after that fight. People are going to be really now looking to see, okay, who is Gio after this fight? He showed us some things, but can he show us that he's a masterful boxer again? Can he put somebody down like he did Gabe Flores and keep them down? I think people know his name now, but they're really going to want to see who is he after this fight with Cruz. But we definitely made some noise on that side.
Yeah, we made some noise. And Chi-Town, Chicago.
Chi-town.
You know that's hometown.
Word.
That's hometown. Thanks for bringing us out, brother. Thanks for bringing us out.
Respect.
Now,
Respect.
Spence.
Yeah.
All right, you represent Spence.
Yeah.
Okay. The guy is a fantastic fighter, one of the greatest welterweights of this era.
Right.
And the fight, honestly, I'm just going to cut it with you, brother. It was just one-sided, and it looked like Terrence Crawford was the better fighter, in my opinion, that night. Now, a lot of people bring up weight drained, said, you know, effects of the car accident and stuff like that. What's your take?
Oh man, this is no excuse. Like, Terrence was the better fighter that night, and he did. He prevailed, man. He had a good game plan. And he did. He broke shit apart, and you can't take nothing away from him or his camp. But he's a guy. He's hungry, man. I think that loss really like woke him up even more. So I'm interested to see the rematch. He's a competitor at heart, and I'm a competitor at heart. So if I'm going head to head with somebody and they beat me, I don't care like how bad they beat me or whatever it may be. We running that shit back.
Facts.
Again, man. Like that's the competitor in me. So for people to be like, oh well, there's something going on. Man, look, better man won that night. And you know what I'm saying, just got to get back in the lab and run it back again. But the competitor in Errol is going to make the second fight even greater than the first one. And then hopefully we'll be seeing a third fight, which will be really more dynamic than the first fight, because it's like, yo, this is one. It's really for all the marbles. It's split 1-1, and let's see who takes it all. So I'm looking forward to the rematch, man, and he's gonna be good. But the conspiracies and shit, it's funny to read, but it's like, no, better man won that night, and we're running back again in December.
I like that because I'm a huge comic book buff, bro.
Gotcha.
I love comic book movies and everything.
Yeah.
And there was something that Bane said in that Batman movie. He said victory has defeated you. When you're talking about the mindset, maybe Errol Spence, he hasn't had to make too many adjustments. He just went out there, I'm gonna whoop his ass the way I whoop everybody else's ass, and then come to find out, oh shit. And like you said, the kind of competitor Errol Spence is, that lights a fire, and maybe you just see a better Errol Spence. A lot of times people gotta lose to win.
Yeah, that's a great point that you just made, and we're really going to see it. And honestly, we've seen it before with him. Kid was in a car accident, thrown from a car, probably should have been killed. Most people are, but he came back from that to prevail. The Manny Pacquiao fight, detached retina, people thought, oh, this may be the end. He came back to prevail. So he's been here before. He may have never lost in the ring or been down in the ring as a professional, but EJ's been here before. So all the talk of whatever, it's like, cool. Terrence got his win, man, running it back. That's what the rematch clause is for. We're going to see a really interesting fight in December. I'm looking forward to it.
Dude, that's a perfect segue to me. When you were talking about things that happen outside of the ring and stuff like that, you being the creative, protect yourself at all times. Because I know what it is, but I want the people to know what it is. What is protect yourself at all times?
Protect yourself at all times is an educational system that I created back in 2016, man. I was managing fighters for 9 years before I got out of the game and was essentially pulled back in to help out. But it's just an educational platform to help them understand the business side of boxing. You hear so much about fighters being taken advantage of financially or contractually. You hear about, Floyd having the tax troubles, Mike Tyson having certain troubles, Pacquiao tax troubles, Joe Louis having troubles, Joe Frazier having troubles. There's a long list of great fighters who have had troubles either financially or contractually, and that's based off of the lack of education that's in the sport of boxing. The sport doesn't have a union or a council to protect the fighters. The sport is not associated like the NBA or the NFL, so there's a lot of things that happen and the fighters get the short end of the stick. So protect yourself at all times is an educational system that I created first with a book, and then it transformed into a podcast, and then a short film, and then it's transformed into all these different branches. But the basis of it is to give fighters clear-cut education of the business, knowing what you're signing, paying your taxes, planning for retirement, knowing what it is to sign with a promoter. They got this whole A side, B side thing going, but you need to know your positioning as an independent contractor in the sport of boxing. So in short, it's just a educational system to help fighters understand the business side of boxing.
And that's something that's just available, so fighters can go and pursue that education and those tools that you're offering them.
Yes, man. My book, Protect Yourself at All Times, A Guide for Professional Boxers, is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. You can find it anywhere. I even did an audio book for those. I'm a guy that don't like to read. I can write a book, but I don't want to sit through reading.
Hey, you and me both, bro. I get tired.
Exactly. So I did an audio book breaking down each chapter in layman's terms, so where it's not too smart to where it's like, damn, I don't understand this shit. It's pretty much just me talking to you like I'm talking to you now on what you should or shouldn't do in regards to contracts or your finances.
So we're going to talk about a little bit later where to find all that shit.
Oh.
You know what I mean? So can you break down though, because listen, Errol Spence, one of his most impactful statements or anything that he ever projected was during the press conference, and when he brought up the sanctioning bodies and paying 12% to be undisputed and stuff like, can you just break down what happens with the fighter, bro? So like you see their purse, and you see, you know, people like Teofimo Lopez saying, look, I want more than $1 million. When they get offered that money, do they get that money? Like, where does the money go? Where is it? Like, please educate me too, bro.
I feel T.O. because it's like, just think about taxes. You get $1 million. He's not like, you may take home a check that says, okay, this is $1 million for Teofimo Lopez, but you understand, like, damn, taxes, like Uncle Sam is gonna get his one way or another, whether it's while I'm active in my career or when I'm retired. Either way, he's gonna come up on his. But the fighter has different overhead expenses that most people don't think about, and they're hard overhead expenses. You're paying your trainer typically a 10%. Managers sometimes vary between 10% all the way up to 33%. Sometimes guys are paying even more than that. Strength and conditioning is now taking a percentage. Cut men take a percentage. So before you know it, man, like, hell, half of your purse is damn near gone because you have so many hard percentages. You know what I'm saying? And with there being no union or anything, they call the number standard, but who is setting the standard for this guy has to get 10%, this guy has to get 15 or 30%? Everything is negotiable in the sport of boxing. So as an independent contractor, which the fighters are, you should sit down with your representative. You should sit down with your trainer. Things should be negotiated in regards to how much money you're getting. Just because someone 30, 40, 50 years ago, oh, 10% is what I get paid, everybody follows suit. That doesn't play well to your bottom line as a fighter. And in regards to the belt sanctions, man, don't get me started with that shit. Because even with that, like, it's a negotiation game, but who gave on the fighter side of things? Who checked off, okay, the WBC 3%, WBO, who checked off on 3%? Who is a voice for the fighters to say, oh yeah, we're cool with 3% of $1 million or $6 million? Who signed off on that? I think the WBC or the belt sanctions in general was like, oh, you know what? This is fair. This is fair by our standards. They didn't talk to anybody else on the fighter side. Who were they going to talk to? And they just run with this shit. What's stopping the WBO or WBC or whoever from saying, you know what? We're going to go up to 6% moving forward. Who are they going to talk to? They're making the decision amongst themselves because there is no union. There is no one for the fighters to stand up for, so stand up to. So, yeah, it's ridiculous when you start breaking down the numbers of what the fighters pay, and it's not a shocker when they're done with their careers and they don't have any money, because it's all been chopped up over percentages through 4 or 5 different people.
So wait a minute. There's no union, so protect yourself at all times is the next best thing because of education?
Protect yourself at all times is the best thing because it is providing you an education that the sport doesn't provide you. Even in the amateur circuit, you're programmed to let your coaches handle all your paperwork, do everything for you. You go sit down or you go make weight. Coaches assign your paperwork, making sure everything is straight. The programming is warped. The fighters should be up there, even the young ones, 9 years old all the way up. You should be handling your own paperwork. You should be having things in line yourself. That conditions you to become a better professional, because even though you're hiring people to do work for you, the best thing is to know everyone's job in regards to your business, because as a pro, it's your business. You are the independent contractor. You're the one that's getting in the ring, like risking your life essentially. You need to know what's going on in regards to your business.
So can I play devil's advocate a little bit?
Please do.
Okay.
Please do.
So how about a hungry fighter being a better fighter? How about the fact that, okay, you take all this money from the fighter with all these things you're talking about. You got to pay this, you got to pay that, got to pay that. That makes the fighter hungrier, even more hungrier to have another fight. No? Earlier or?
Don't get me wrong, man. Listen, it's a poor man's sport is what they call it. Guys that are fighting, you're fighting for a better life essentially, and you have a guy that either has money or has infrastructure that can help either jumpstart your career or take it off. In regards to social media, it's like, don't take too much money. And I think that's the biggest thing with most fighters, where you think that, okay, this money that this gentleman is providing me for me to stay in the gym and train, they think, oh, this is a bonus. I get to keep this money. But you're starting a tab, essentially. And the individual that's coming forward to be involved in your career from a investor or financial standpoint, bro, they want that money back plus more. So in regards to the fighters, yeah, so it's like, bro, like everything is negotiable, but you can't go in with the mindset of, okay, well, $50,000. Yeah, I'm gonna run with that. I'm cool. I'm gonna just keep training and moving forward. And $50,000. I'll give you an example.
Give me it, please.
Facebook. Remember, Mark Zuckerberg started Facebook.
Right.
Peter Thiel was his first investor. Facebook it had a multi-million-dollar valuation, but it wasn't a billion-dollar corporation starting off. It was interesting to people.
Mm-hmm.
Peter Thiel put in $500,000, I believe it was, the first angel investor to Facebook. $500,000 got Peter Thiel. I think it was 7% of Facebook. Certain fighters would have a manager come to them, and the manager's like, I'll give you $2,000 for the next year. Was that $24,000 or something of that nature?
Yeah.
$24,000, and then they're taking 33% of your money going forward because they put in $2,000 per month. It doesn't add up. I'm not saying that every fighter is going to be a multi-million-dollar fighter. However, $500,000 got a gentleman 7% of a evaluated company that was at about $1 million. If you think you're going to be a multi-million-dollar fighter, or you believe that you are, $24,000 can get someone 33% of your money moving forward for your career. Just the numbers don't make sense.
Facts. And here's the thing. Maybe fighters will take more chances knowing that they have made the type of deals that can help them be able to hold down the type of standard of living that they dreamt about holding down since kids, right?
Bro, embrace that struggle. Embrace the struggle. That's what makes fighters. Fighters that, especially sport fighters, bro, after you make, it's hard to get up and run 10 miles after you got $1 million in the bank. You know what I'm saying? You feel comfortable at that point, man. So go through that struggle as a young fighter, man. Keep that hunger in you to get more, but roll the dice on yourself. Bet on yourself, man. Don't let somebody come in and essentially take advantage of your career, because that kills most fighters. They're like, you know what? I don't really want to do this shit anymore because I'm so tangled up in the business side. I took too much money in the beginning. Now this dude thinks he owns me, so now he don't give me any more fights. He'll put me on the shelf because I'm not doing what he's telling me to do. Bruh, bet on yourself. All the greats bet on themselves, from Crawford to Spence, Devin Haney. These guys bet on themselves. Wait a second. Crawford betting on himself. He got a bad rep though. Like, they didn't like when he did that fight with BOK Prime and stuff like. So what, you supporting that as a good business decision from Crawford? Who didn't like it? I mean, I'm pretty sure he liked it based off of the money that he got. Bro, this like Denzel said, this shit is chess. It's not checkers, man. Right. As a fighter, bro, you can only fight one time in one night. Managers, trainers, they can make multiple checks on multiple nights, fam. And once your career is over with as a fighter, it's done, bro. They're not sending you residuals. The belt sanctions that you pay 3% for it, you think that's sending you residuals?
Yeah, that was the question. Where's that money going? Like, wait, it doesn't go to the fighter.
Oh no, it doesn't go to the fighter. No one has answered that question. I actually asked the WBO, Paco and Gustavo, like, I would love to have a sit down with you guys, a public sit down for the public to see the questions that I ask you or Errol ask you, like, yo, where's the money going? And even though I will say this is a business entity, it's really not our business where the money's going.
Facts, that's integrity, brother.
Yeah, that's their business. However, I'd want to know this whole 3% thing. Who came up with the 3%? Why did you guys pick 3% in regards to the belt? Is that negotiable for everybody? Is this just a hard number of 3%? There are certain questions I want to ask them to put them on the spot on, but to answer your previous question, nobody fucking knows where the money goes. I'd love to sit down with all the belt sanctions to know, with this 3%, how does the fighters, how do they benefit from that? I would love to know.
But dude, that's really scary. And the fact that, a fighter can be an old fighter, washed up fighter and stuff like that, but a young man, a young woman, a young person, but an old fighter. But the stuff that you're saying, I can't help but to kind of cringe a little bit, because business isn't spoken about. The boxing business is spoken about this way. Right. And I'm gonna tell you, AC, you my brother, but it's scary to hear this. It's like, nobody, the awakening of this shit, bro. I'm pretty sure any fighter or just the fans and everybody's being educated on all this stuff. Now, I mean, they're gonna be pointing fingers.
And honestly, that's a great conversation starter to sometimes point fingers or put things on the spot or put a spotlight on things, man. That's what I'm looking to do with Protect Yourself at All Times, bro. I'm looking to start a conversation. I'm not looking to, a union for the sport of boxing will only come when the sport is totally associated. Now, at that point, the fighters can band together and hold out.
But until then,
Until then, you need to educate yourself on what it is that your business is. And you as a fighter, whatever your name is, that's your company, that's your business. So you need to educate yourself on the business that you're in, which is boxing, and it has a past history over decades of fighters being taken advantage of, contractually or financially. You're not exempt from being taken advantage of. So if you don't have the proper education, if you don't read or take heed to protect yourself at all times, whatever happens to you, honestly, it's on you, because you didn't take the time to educate yourself as you do in the ring when you're training for a fight and making different adjustments. Same energy you pack in the ring is the same energy you need to have outside the ring in regards to your business.
Fantastic, brother. And I could talk to you all day about this, but before we talk about where we can find you, where everyone can find you, I'm pretty sure there's people right now, you know what I mean? The platform is big enough. There's people right now thinking, even young fighters, like, yo, where can I find this guy? But before we talk about that, what's the difference or the similarities or what's going on between Fighters First and Protect Yourself at All Times? Like,
so
what is
Fighters First is a management company. They represent the professional athletes. We have 7 clients currently right now, but some clients we negotiate contracts for, some clients that we negotiate their endorsement deals, but we represent professional athletes at Fighters First, professional boxers especially. But we Protect Yourself at All Times, just the educational system. So with Fighters First acquiring Protect Yourself at All Times, we're bringing things, the companies will still be separate in their own way to do 2 separate things, but we're bringing things under one roof to where we can still represent fighters of our choice of what makes sense, but we can still help out fighters all over the world in regards to education, because we're providing it through Protect Yourself at All Times. So the 2 companies are just merging together to make for a greater one, essentially.
That was very smart to do, because nobody likes complexity and, you know what I mean, and confusion. They want one place to go, where to go. And that's my last question, man. Where do we go to find you, and where are these tools homed, and how do you find all this information?
So for as the book goes, you can go to any, whether it's Barnes & Noble, Amazon, you can go there to find Protect Yourself at All Times, a guide for professional boxers. You can go to the platform Audible, and you can type in Protect Yourself at All Times, a guide for professional boxers, and it'll bring up the audio book, which is a lot easier to read than the book itself. And then of course on Instagram, I'm AC_Clark. Fighters First does have an Instagram page, which I don't know off the top of my head. Protect Yourself at All Times is PYAAT__. But yeah, you can just type in Protect Yourself at All Times, Adrian Clark, and the information that you need will come up, man. But Protect Yourself at All Times is something that all fighters, I don't care what your record is, what your status is, all fighters need to be educated on the business of boxing.
Bro, we're going to end this unconventionally. All right? Good shit, dog. I love that. I love that, brother. Everything that you're talking about is really what my community is about, man. Everybody, Adrian Clark, man. Thank you so much for inviting me, brother, and telling me everything I really wanted to know, and my community wanted to know, brother.
All good, bro.
ShowBizz, the adult. I'm out. Huh.